Jolan Tru Centurions, and welcome back to another episode of the Command, Orion Pirates Mod. I am Fleet Admiral Tyrek of the Dreadnought RS Pugnator, as we continue our campaign against the Hydran Star Kingdom, and last time, well, unfortunately, we lost our King Condor class battleship, which was very unfortunate. However, we are now in a position where we can pick up either another one or potentially a heavy bombardment cruiser. So without further ado, let us head out to the next planet to see if there's anything better in the shipyard. The last time I checked, there didn't seem to be anything worth getting. We've got a heavy Condor, but we're not particularly interested in that. What we're looking for is XCB, which does not appear to be on the list, which is very unfortunate. There's, of course, an XFP, if we wanted to go in the more plasma destroyer range. Unfortunately, it only has 4 plasma torpedoes, which is not exactly super powerful. However, in the heavy cruiser range, if we look at the XCB, we'll notice it has 2 Rs and 4 S-type plasma torpedoes, which is rather ridiculous in how much firepower it deals. So we kind of want to get that. That or another King Condor would not go awry. Unfortunately, a KCN does not appear to be on the list either at the moment, so it looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of light skirmish missions. And so let's go grab an MET-13 monster hunt for the very beginning of the day. So let us ready up and rock and roll. We are once again in... Is this a rock? No, this ain't a rock. Oh, it is a rock. We're back into one of my favorite dreadnoughts in the entire game, a Romulan optimized Condor. Let's go through and make sure that we're fully set up for the maximum enveloping plasma torpedo attack. So all plasma select. It doesn't actually buff up our energy drain all that much, so we can get ourselves up to a fairly decent speed of just under 15. There does appear to be the Invenio way off in the distance that is equipped with apparently nothing more than a couple of phases, so I have to assume that it is just a freighter off here. However, we do have a disruptor monster. Disruptor monsters not exactly all that dangerous or deadly. They have, well, disruptors, as the case may sound, and triple S, I believe that makes it a small disruptor monster. I'm not quite sure what the full actual name on it. I know that Sun Gliders, SGs, are the large phaser monsters. Then, of course, there's the asteroid monster, which is AM. But I'm not quite sure what SS stands for before you get to the third S, which describes the size, which is, well, in this case, small, which I believe is 2 disruptors. So not exactly something that we're all that scared of. Let's set to phasers to overload, and we're just going to basically drive up and shoot them. Unfortunately, yeah, pair of disruptors. Oh, yeah, it's just a single pair. So unfortunately, our plasma torpedo is not yet ready, but we can come through with a blistering 36 damage, and then we'll start to come around and prepare for the plasma torpedo. We need to slow down because we're unloading our plasma torpedoes. So this is not exactly a challenge for us. We are more than prepared to be able to handle him. And that'll shatter it. We are one of the best looking and coolest of all of the Romulan light dreadnoughts, of all the Romulan dreadnoughts, period. Even the Romulan battleships kinda don't got nothing on us. We are beautiful vessels. Well, the Romulan optimized Condor is possibly my favorite ship in the entire Romulan fleet. Yeah, the Malak class warbird, very cool, amazingly powerful ship. Gotta give credit where credit is due. But it's not a rock. That's where that basically begins and ends. We could get a standard... What are you? You're a Saberhawk Heavy Marine Assault War Destroyer. Or as we like to call them around here, Alphabet Super War Destroyers, because you get too many letters in the name. I am a little bit stalling because I'm kind of hoping that this list will update and I'll be able to see the next group of things, because as much as I like the rock, we're kind of going to want something a little bit more powerful than what we currently have. So let's go hop over here. We'll do a little bit of home housekeeping, anti-piracy convoy patrols, or more monsters. You know, we could just go through and slay a whole bunch of monsters, secure space for all involved. After all, this is a brand new holding of the Romulan Star Empire. And way off there in the distance appears to be another small monster, which we shouldn't have any trouble taking. Enveloping plasma torpedoes, please, just for maximum damage. So we are starting to come down to the end of this campaign, which does mean the start of the next campaign. There are only 2 factions left to play, and the last faction that will be played will, of course, be the Klingons, because we are going to end the season on a massive Klingon versus Federation brawl, as we did at the end of the first series, which was a Romulan versus Federation brawl, and so now we're going to do it in the opposite direction, which ought to be a lot of fun. However, that means we do still need to do one race in between, and that is the ISC. And the ISC, unfortunately, is another plasma race, which will mean we'll have stacked 3 plasma races in a row. And as much as I enjoy the plasma races to a certain extent, I mean, they give you just an amazing feeling of firepower and just strength. But it is the same style of combat that you're going to be seeing 3 different times in 3 very similar ways. The Gorn were very straightforward, punchy plasma, the Romulans are very sneaky, stealthy plasma, and the ISC are a little bit longer range because they throw PPDs into the mix and they don't get R-type plasma torpedoes at all. So fairly decent, but a little bit more reliant on other supporting systems in their fleets. So a little less than ideal. New list, new fleets, and still nothing. Not even a King Condor to take. Heavy Condors are all over the place, but the Heavy Condor is not exactly what we're looking for. It's an upgrade from what we're currently in, but it's not a significant enough upgrade for me to want to waste the time with. But yeah, so we're going to be moving into the ISC. The ISC bring PPDs into the mix, which is a really interesting and fun weapon. It might be my favorite weapon in the game, just because of the way that it works. But it's like another plasma race, especially the early game is going to be standard plasma race affair. You're not going to have anything different or special to go with it. It's just going to be run up and hit them plasma race. So I have been discussing with Sprogue just a couple of things that we might be able to do to spice up the next season, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. I'm not going to say what it is, but there are some modifications that I'm going to be making that hopefully will make the series just a little bit more enjoyable, and so it's not just triple plasma in a row, because I can understand how that can get a little bit tiresome. After all, we've done a lot of plasma lately. And the plasma campaigns also always last the longest. Unfortunately, the way it works is plasma takes a long time to charge and prepare, and oftentimes you need to very specifically engage in certain ways in order to take advantage of that super long repair and charge time. So if you don't, then so that ends up with what ended up happening back during Season 8, where it was like 80-something episodes long. That'll take care of you, no problem. Yeah. So we kind of want to avoid that. Now this season is probably going to clock in at somewhere in the 40s, I think. That is if I'm remembering the episode number length correctly. And if I am, then yeah, it's going to end somewhere in the 40s, which, you know, that's not terrible. I mean, I believe our speed record is in the early 20s. And I think it was actually like the Lyran campaign where we managed to pull that one off. That was quick. It was the fastest time we had ever done it. Another XV is the bottom of the list. We're not interested in all these X-type phaser boats. The X-type ships are so incredibly disappointing for the plasma races. Aside from the heavy bombardment cruiser, they all suck. That's kind of just where it ends at that point. They're just terrible. MET-17 Patrol tends to be bugs, so let's go poke our nose in the actual planet itself. After all, the Empire defense is down to 25, so we put enough pressure onto it, we may actually be able to grab it. And then how nice would that be to get our brand new dreadnought or, you know, heavy bombardment cruiser off of a planet capture. Red alert and prepare for battle. Overload all weapon systems. What do we got? Nothing. Ooh, we have a light cruiser on long range sensors. We're being escorted today by the Ares Findere. Hey, you're familiar. And yeah, so an L and H, not particularly sure what type of variant this is, but it's not going to be the biggest of deals. We're just going to kick on the forward shield to a maximum level that we can possibly manage, get ourselves up to our speed of 14-ish, and increase the speed of time as we cruise on in there. Now, we will, of course, send the probe as soon as we get the charge on. Oh, they've got an SR. Not you, but you. Right. So they're dealing with a frigate and a light cruiser. Send the probe to the light cruiser. Are you an Alphabet Soup War Destroyer? You are. I think. Maybe not. It's actually a fairly decent combination. He's got the 3 close-range combat weapons, the fusion cannons, and then he's got a pair of longer-range Hellbores. Honestly, I think the Hellbore is one of the best weapons that they've ever made. I mean, it's amazing. It's not my favorite, but it is an amazing weapon system. We're going to come in here for a straight-up brawl, I think. Actually, no, that would be a bad idea. Fire the pseudo. And cut this. And drop. So that's going to influence him to do that, and we have a high energy turn available to us because we are a Romulan optimized Condor, and that makes us amazing in all ways. So we're just going to duck underneath this fighter cover so he can waste his fire on into us, or apparently not. They're being somewhat intelligent and holding their fire. Apparently he decided to go for the next group. This guy's got a killer bee that we're not particularly worried about. You're starting to increase your speed, so we are going to conduct a high energy turn and begin to break out of cloak as we prepare all of our plasma torpedoes. You are a lot closer to me than I want you to be. And plasma and duck. So this ought to wipe him out for the most part. Yes. Okay, so we have the first group down. We're down just to the frigate. The frigate has 2 fighters and a whole ton of Gatling phasers. Well, 2, but still, that's a fairly significant amount of Gatling phasers nonetheless. We will just wait for these fighters to pass over us, and then we'll probably kill the fighters. Because you know what? I think they've got this. I do think they have this fully handled. And the fighters and the pseudo-frigates have engaged each other. We're going to come out of cloak just to pick off the fighter. No specific reason why we just want to kill the fighter. It makes us feel a little bit better to know we have total control over the engagement area. Start to slow down. Make sure our forward shield is our maximum shield. And he's probably going to be able to kill most of these pseudo-frigates, which is a bit unfortunate. After all, they're only little Debbie pseudo-frigates. They never did nothing wrong. But yeah, we're not going to be able to stop him from doing that. I mean, I'm engaging as fast as I can, and I just can't stop him from wiping them out one by one. to be fair, we don't really have much of a side engagement. Fire all the pseudos! Hey, I figured you had that. But the problem, the mistake that you made is that now you have no defenses. You're unwise to lower your defenses. And we've wiped them out. Unfortunately, that did kill all 4 pseudo-frigates. Now, if they had been smart, they would have all docked with the mothership and we wouldn't have to worry about that. But hey, who's actually telling them what to do? Oh, right. My allies. And I can't tell my allies what to do, though. Gosh darn it. Alright, so 158 prestige is a reward for a job well done, and Empire Defense is down a little bit further. We're going to pop on over here. I kind of want to go back home. In fact, we shall. Shipyard, hi. I'm still in the market for an XCV if you got one. XSC, that is not okay. That is destroyer level stuff, and the destroyer level stuff is a G-type, a D-type, and an X-type. Yeah, that's pretty pathetic, actually. The XDP is not horrifically bad. It is 6 plasma torpedoes on a very, very small frame, but it's pretty terrible. And the XFC is 4 plasma torpedoes on a tiny frame with a little bit better phaser armament. I'm not super interested in any of those. So much for getting the kind of ship that I actually want. Hey, another monster patrol. So we're doing a little bit of light action today. So keeping it nimble, keeping it loose, keeping it aggressive, where we can just basically pop into a fight and pop on out. What do we? Oh, that's not hydrants, Andromedans off in the distance where we must destroy them. So all weapons select, overload all weapons, hit the forward shield reinforcement. Now the Andromedans do not have wild missiles, I think. We'll find out. I mean, we're gonna do the standard run forward. Plasma torpedo pseudo, duck over to the side, part back in, see what happens. But I don't think that they do. Might be wrong on that. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm probably wrong on that, but we're going to find out. And we'll do so in beautiful style, as we often are. Now, we have found out that by just going right for them, we have a little bit of trouble. Oh, she's a gorgeous ship. We have a little bit of trouble just making sure that we're fully charged by the time we actually make it to. So we'll just do a little bit of a donut. That way we ensure that the closure rate is not too high. No, seriously, this is one of the best looking ships in the entire Romulan Navy. And I feel perfectly confident in saying that. I mean, the Firehawks are cool, but this is sleek. Sleek and beautiful. Alright, so he has launched his fighters, and they can utilize their tractor, pusher, polar, blue phaser beams. Not entirely sure what to call them. Send... Yeah, he's fired. Are you going to crash up? I don't think you can. You could, okay. Duck into cloak. We will slip underneath the fighters and engage them from point-blank range. They'll never see us coming. We are fully underneath the cloak. I'm not sure if they can actually shoot me and see me. They didn't do anything to my torpedo, did they? I didn't pay attention if they were. We'll come out of cloak since they are getting well away from us. And he's actually accelerating at quite a high rate of speed. All plasma torpedoes prepared as we want to find out. And disappear. So in and out and in and out is the way of the Romulans. You know what? I'm just going to go in on this. I mean, his fighters just dealt a massive blow to me, but I think if I shoot him with all the heavy phasers I've got, I might be able to take him before they die. Well, before I die, actually. Oh, actually, no, there's a lot more fighters than I thought there were. We will duck in a cloak very, very shortly. After all, we have almost annihilated this thing. I think I can do it just with aft phasers. There we go. Just in time. So before the enemy could actually come in to rescue their mothership, we managed to take it out in perfect order. So... definitely slaying all the monsters and securing the home territories. After all, it's very important actually to do that. Oh, not really, but you know, we can believe in these things. Pop on over here as we waste a little bit more time to see if we can't get our hands on something a little bit more. I don't want to say aggressive, but it kind of is aggressive. So another refreshed list. A whole bunch of smaller ships. Nope. Superhawks though. Yeah, Praxis or Praximus or what are you? PRA. Praetor. There's no X in that at all. Not quite sure I was trying to put one, although at this point pretty much they all look the same in terms of their plasma torpedo armament. Yeah, still waiting on coming through another X-type heavy cruiser. There is another monster. The MET-17 patrol is a bit bugged. Early on in the game it seems to work fine. Once you get to the much later eras of the game, everything just seems to break all the time on that. I've been told that it's been fixed, but I've never noticed it actually fixed. Okay, we're squaring off against a fusion cannon monster this time. This one is equipped with, it's a large fusion cannon monster, so I believe 6 fusion cannons, which for us doesn't really matter, because let's be honest, the AI doesn't know how to use a fusion cannon to save its life, and it does actually need to save its life with that fusion cannon, which it doesn't know how to use. So we're just going to run on in. We'll let him suicide overload his fusion cannons. That's something the monsters do that really bugs me. They will use the suicide overload, but the thing is, suicide overload breaks the fusion cannon mount, But then there's no way to fix it, because monsters can't fix stuff. So, send out the probe. Yeah, he's got 6 of them. I get us fully up to speed as we can sprint quite quickly. Being a light dreadnought has many advantages. I'm not sure if the heavy condor counts as a light dreadnought. Those missiles should eventually reach him. Yeah, he got slowed down by it. Really, it's the plasma torpedoes and the missiles that just utterly annihilate monsters. The only monster that can actually handle that sort of thing is the Sunglider, and that's because the Sunglider has... Oof, that looked like it hurt a lot. Sunglider has Gatling phasers, which can actually fire in point defense mode to protect itself. It's not ideal, but it works. Every other monster, though, every other standard monster type is completely vulnerable to plasma torpedoes and missiles, though. So, one of the things that the Federation actually kind of suck at. Shipyard high. Do you have anything new? No? Still waiting on that? I don't want to do a shipyard defense. We'll pass out into space again. Be aggressive towards the enemy to see if we can't actually keep this under control. Because I do actually also want to... Oh, planetary assault. Okay, that's the way to begin. We got 4 minutes left in this episode, but hey, why not? Let's take on the planetary assault to see if they've actually brought all their A-game. Battle alert. Hey, we brought an XCB and a tender? No, it's a Mauler. That is not a tender. And they brought an XCF, so we're going to prepare ourselves for full-on combat. So an XCF is not as dangerous as it could be. It's probably the weakest of the X-type heavy cruisers. Although, to be fair, Hydran XCFs are equipped with a lot of Gatling 2 phasers, so there is that going for them. But they're not terrifying. On the other hand, this is the best plasma ship in the game, bar none. Like, it's not the most beautiful design ever, if I'm honest. Oh, and they've also got a Paladin Heavy Dreadnought, because of course they do. But yeah, the Romulan XCB is the best one in the game, because the Romulan XCB has a cloaking device, and the Gorn one doesn't. That's the extent of that logic there. And it's good logic, don't get me wrong, it's perfectly sound logic. The fact that the Gorn don't have it, and the Romulans do, because it means that they are just completely incapable of handling what comes toward them. Oh, look at how much damage they can deal to me. You just take it. There you go, there's your crash stop. Then we do our little pull out, and then we slide back in. Now, luckily for us, the planet is actually completely undefended. It's a PL9. So I'm not going to have to worry about taking down planetary defenses as we move forward. Oh, another great thing is we managed to keep him... Drop the cloak, because the fighters are about to come on top of me. We managed to keep him from utilizing a wild weasel against our heavy bombardment cruiser. Okay, they fired, and now we're going to fire as well. Now, he does do penetrating hits only. He doesn't set to enveloping mode, which would be really, really cool if he did that. Because an enveloping mode, R-type plasma torpedo does 100 damage. He's got 2 of them. So he could probably rip away the shields off that ship pretty gosh darn quick. Okay, we've managed to cut through pretty much all of the shields at this point, and his armor was basically non-existent. Our Mauler has shown up now to add in his fire support, although the Mauler I don't think is fired yet. So if the Mauler wants to get a shot off, that now would be a good time. Paladin's coming around to us, but I'm going to ignore him because I'm going to decloak and see if I can't get a little opportunistic shot to the back of this guy. Okay, it didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. You are really big. Not you. Slip away. You are not here. We were kind of there when he fired. Mostly there when they fired. But if we can get out of this, then we need to... Oh, there's no... What? Really? Oh, wasted. So unfortunately, those are plasma torpedoes that we're not getting back, and that's going to take him 3 turns to recharge. I'm going to drop a big mine because I want him to back away, and it feels so nice to be able to just cruise along at a speed of 10 while under full cloak. So HMS Hurtle is our current target, and he's now directed directly away from me, which will allow me to accelerate and get on out of here. So we want some distance, and we want it now. And I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to switch my shield reinforcement to aft because I don't need 4 at the moment. If I can keep my aft shields intact, that would be, great. So I'd like to do that while I charge up the rest of my plasma torpedoes. As long as my phaser capacitor is full, I don't need to really care about it. So we're just going to shift on along and move as fast as we can away from him while we charge up the rest of our plasma torpedoes. He's actually doing quite the high speed. But we brought friends, and we've already killed his. So that's not going to go great for him. Really tempted to do... Yeah, he's going to crash stop unless... Ooh, the timing on that is... Ooh, got through regardless. Maybe we should set my plasma torpedoes to penetrate. She did 100 damage. And my plasma torpedoes will not do any damage. So they'll strip his shield, sure, but they're not going to actually hurt him. It's tempting, it really is. So he's doing a speed of 0.5 at this point. So is that active? It is still active, okay. He's accelerating though to get away from it. My plasma torpedoes are about to be ready, aside from, of course, from my R-type plasma torpedo. So I'm going to start to slow down a little bit. Yeah, we've got the forward shields not buffed at the moment, but that'll be fine. And that's close enough. And I'm going to pull off into cloak. I can do a speed of 19 while cloaked. This is bonkers. Okay, so I've managed to basically strip away all of his shields. Now he's vulnerable. We've knocked out most of his weapons with that. Enveloping plasma torpedo strikes against unarmored targets, incredibly powerful. Because they just do double damage at that point. Once you've gotten their shields, then you're basically just murderizing. Okay, decloak towards the planet. Maximum speed of time. Let's go kill this in record speed. Actually, do I have enough Marines? I do. I have 20. Oh, I was worried because I haven't actually outfitted the ship with, anything. So I was somewhat worried that I didn't have enough Marines to actually conquer the planet. But no, we've got that covered. We have half a complement, so that should be okay. So we're just going to cruise on up to the planet, bombard it to little tiny bits and pieces, and that'll be another successful assault on the planet itself after a nice little bout of monster hunting, sort of getting tuned back into a heavy condor, or not a heavy condor, or a Romulan optimized condor, the best of the condors. Although I haven't actually driven a heavy condor. Maybe I should at some point just to sort of see how it is, because it doesn't exactly give me more plasma torpedoes or anything, so no main benefit there, but it does give me access to other things. Like additional phasers and protection. And I think it has D-type plasma torpedoes, which makes it kind of good. All the plasma. And break. Actually get a little bit closer, just under a distance of 5. Just for, that little bit of extra accuracy. So phasers. And stop. Fire the phasers. We're also going to set up our electronic countermeasure to maximum mode. Looks like our nuclear space mine timed out. And down to 2. Send in the Marines. Alrighty, that'll be a successful capture of planet, and we do have 6 Marines, which is really fun. I mean, it's not like the 9 or 10 that we had on the King Condor, but that still is a significant number of Marine boarding parties. I'm actually kind of surprised that our King Condor has so many transporters, because you wouldn't imagine the Romulans would be all for boarding actions, but maybe for mines. But you don't use transporters and cloaked mines, that doesn't matter. We will find out in the future when we actually steal other things, and that'll be great. 495 prestige for job well done. Empire Defense is down to 15. Oh, it's vulnerable. They've got one more planet remaining. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I've been Turek. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I post one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and make sure you join us today for our Twitch stream at 5 o'clock. You can find us on twitch.tv/Turek117. We stream Rogue Tech Apollo's Vipers, currently working our way through a clan start. We would love to have you with us, and we'll see you all in the next episode.